If you're watching this, that means I already started my new job, but the weekend before I headed back to work, I squeezed in every fun activity I could think of to celebrate. To start, Charlie, my fiance, took me out to a celebratory dinner at Eulalie, and we had some great seafood, and then walked along the river walk and got some ice cream. Mine was dairy-free. The next morning, we were up bright and early. We went to Silver Springs State Park with one goal in mind, and that was to see a manatee. And very shortly into our guided tour, we got a tip from someone that there was a manatee where all of the boats launch from in Silver Springs. So I got to see my very first manatee, who was just hanging around, sometimes coming up for air, but for the most part, she was just laying there, and it was an absolute dream come true. Truly, I haven't stopped talking about it, if you can't tell. We got to keep kayaking, and it did start to rain at one point, and that was a little bit disappointing, but we knew it was going to rain, and we just powered through it. We got to see so many of the springs. Those are the extremely blue parts of the river. I was pretty much a passenger princess for the entire kayaking trip. Charlie just paddled me around, and I took all the photos and videos. This is pretty par for the course. I'm normally the passenger princess in the car. While we were paddling around, we got to see some of the monkeys that live in this state park. They are not native. They're actually an invasive species. As we were paddling along, we heard that there was a manatee ahead, and little did we know there was actually two manatees. It was a mom and a baby having lunch. This was so cool, and I'm so glad I got to have so many videos of the manatee actually eating. That's why the water looks a little murky, because she's chomping on all the seagrass. Her baby was so cute and small, but still a gigantic creature in the grand scheme of things. We got back onto dry land, got changed, and headed on home so that we could make it back to Tampa in time to go to the Taylor Swift album premiere movie event. It was really fun, and it definitely made me like the album even more than I did when it first came out. We went to bed pretty early and then got up pretty early again the next morning so that we could go back to Cypress Point Park and fish, and I hung out on the beach and read a book, and I finally finished my book, The Obesity Code. It was actually Charlie's book, and I was just trying to read up a little bit more and educate myself. It was very interesting, not necessarily a page turner. We decided the weekend wasn't over without one more quick fishing and beach trip, so we were over in St. Pete and Pass-a-Grill, where Charlie got to go fishing, and he caught a few fish, nothing that we decided to take home with us, and in a surprise to no one, I hung out on the beach. I got in the water, I waded around and found some shells and unfortunately some litter, so I started picking that up on the beach, and before we knew it, a storm cloud was rolling in and we were hightailing it out of there, and that was the end of our big celebratory weekend before I headed back to work and started my new job at Fox 13 Tampa Bay.